Hey, social media family, I'm Ramona Phillips, the Healthy Mind Strategist. Welcome to Get It Right. I help hurting people grow past that trauma into authentic leadership, regardless of the area of expertise, because we've all been through trauma. That's some deeply distressing, disturbing experiences. In other words, we've all been through some stuff in life that knocked us off our square, that affected us emotionally, that made us feel like we were overwhelmed emotionally. Sometimes we felt strong, but we've also felt weak. We knew we were strong, but then there were some times when we were just feeling weak, right? We were going through something. The good part about it is the joy of the Lord is our strength. The Lord is the strength of our lives. So when we're going through, we really are going through, right? Right? We may feel like whatever's going on is never going to change or never going to go away, but God promises to be with us. He wants us to get our hearts right. He wants us to get our minds right. He wants us to get our impulses right, our behaviors right, our thinking right. He wants us to think right and think lovingly and think righteously and be aware of how we're feeling, how we're behaving. He wants us to be loving, and he wants us to take responsibility for the way that we feel, think, and behave. Now, the bottom line is sometimes some emotions are going to come up, right? We're going to feel uncomfortable at times. Sometimes we're going to be afraid, insecure, fearful. We're going to feel some emotions coming up. But it's important that we acknowledge what's causing those emotions to come up. Are we aware enough to know this particular situation is triggering for me? Or being around this person, those feelings come up. Being around this individual isn't healthy for me, right? Going through this particular situation is really starting to stress me out, right? So it's important that we know how life is affecting us, right? It's important that we know how life is affecting us. And I always say, go before the throne of grace. Always go to God and talk to God about it. Always pray. Don't just sit in there and just don't, say anything. In other words, think through it, and also process whatever it is that you're going through, right? Acknowledge why you're going through what you're going through. If you're not sure, connect with someone that's safe, that can help, and you talk about it so they can help you get through it, right? Or help you to process whatever it is that you're going through. Maybe it's grief. Maybe something happened a while ago or recently and you still need to grieve, but you feel as though that you're numb and you don't know how you feel, right? Or maybe you are overwhelmed and maybe not quite sure why you're so overwhelmed. But when I decided to get some therapy many years ago, right? One of the things I realized was that I wasn't alone, and I also had choices to make, right? And that my decisions and choices were very important. That my decisions and choices were very important. Now, has it been a perfect journey? Absolutely not. Because, sometimes we learn by trial and error. Sometimes we learn by the mistakes that we make, right? Anyway, the awesome part about it is we don't have to go through it alone. God is with us and he'll see us through whatever it is that we're going through. Okay, so I don't want to be here long tonight or today or whenever you guys decide to watch the video. And first of all, if you're watching this video via YouTube, I want to thank you for sharing, and subscribing to my channel. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you'll know when I'm coming up or showing up, when I'm showing up to share a video or share a word from God, okay? Because I always pray before I decide to teach. God, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? What can I say to help someone, right? And he always comes through, right? But like my pastor said, if you don't hear God speaking, use wisdom, right? Use wisdom, right? So strength, how are you feeling tonight? What's going on with you? Do you want to comment in the comment section and share what's going on with you? Or do you have a question that you would like to ask me as a peer supporter? Anyway, strength. We don't always have to be strong to be strong. Sometimes our strength is expressed in being vulnerable, right? Sometimes we don't want to be vulnerable. We want to feel like we got it all together and can handle everything, right? Sometimes we need to fall apart to regroup and stay on track. What? Huh? What? Sometimes we need to fall apart to regroup and stay on track. In other words, it's so important to acknowledge how we're feeling, what's going on with us emotionally. Because like my pastor says, we want to feel those emotions, but we don't want to allow the emotions to drive the car, right? We want the emotions can ride in the car, but the emotions cannot drive the car, right? So we all have days when we cannot push any harder, cannot hold back self-doubt, cannot stop focusing on fear, cannot be strong. There are days when we cannot focus on being responsible. Occasionally, we don't want to get out of our pajamas, right? Occasionally, we don't even want to get out of our pajamas, right? Come on, tell the truth. And sometimes we cry in front of people. We expose our tiredness, irritability, or even anger. And those days are okay too. They are just okay. Part of taking care of ourselves means we give ourselves permission. I love that. We give ourselves permission to fall apart when we need to. Because life happens. And we got to stop acting like we don't feel anything, or we're not even, or in other words, we have to acknowledge our feelings. How we feel about how life is affecting us. What's going on in our circumstances. How is it affecting us really? So, I'm going to say that again. Part of taking care of ourselves means we give ourselves permission to fall apart. Girl, it's okay to have a bad day. Man, it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to struggle through a day. Life happens. And when we need to, it's okay. Sometimes we just fall apart, or sometimes we're struggling. In other words, sometimes we're struggling with fear or self-doubt, or sometimes we just feel like God, where are you? God, are you with me today? Like, I know you're here, right? So anyway, because you promised to never leave me nor forsake me, so I know you're here, right? So why am I feeling alone? I know you're here, right? So those days are okay. They're just okay. Thank God we're not like that every day, right? So part of taking care of ourselves means we give ourselves permission to fall apart or to have a rough day when we need to. We do not have to be perpetual towers of strength. And a lot of us, that's what we do. But we are strong. We really are strong. We have proven that over and over and over again. Our strength will continue if we allow ourselves the courage to feel scared. It takes courage to feel scared. It takes courage to be vulnerable, to feel weak, to cry when we need to cry, and vulnerable when we need to experience those feelings. So today, God, let's talk to God about it. So today, God, help me to know that it is okay to allow myself to be human. It's okay to allow yourself to be human. Help me not to feel guilty or punish myself when I need to fall apart, or I'm just having a rough day, right? And today was better than yesterday, right? But this too shall pass. Whatever it is, this too shall pass. God is with us. He promises to go before us, walk beside us. We are overcomers. And yes, we are strong, even when we're having a tough time and we have to press through some days, okay? So if we didn't have those rough times, how would we know that we were having a great day, right? So we always have something to learn, something to experience, and something to go to God for. I'm Ramona Phillips, the Healthy Mind Strategist, helping hurting people grow past that trauma and those codependent thinkings, codependent thoughts, okay? Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel, okay? And those of you who are watching on other social media platforms, thank you for joining. I'm Ramona Phillips. I'll talk to you guys later. Good night. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.